Hello, Cryptonauts, and welcome back to another Twitter Spaces. Our weekly meetup is here with the community. It looks like we already have Jake here, Alyssa here, Quothing here. We're all here to talk about Ethereum Merge, which is coming up pretty soon, right? In the next day or so, possibly even now. I will check that out here in a bit. What's up, Jake?
Hey, it's uh, it's been a very interesting day. Thank goodness the weather has cooled off. I don't know what it is for everyone else, but around here it was in the hundred and teens in Fahrenheit, and now it's in the 80s. Thank goodness.
Yeah, it was actually really nice weather out here, man. I loved it compared to the 105-degree weather that we've been having the past few days. This is a relief. I actually pulled out my sweater today. Just right now, I had a little afternoon walk. I was like, it's a little bit chilly out here. Let me just get my sweater, my trusty sweater that I have in the back seat. So yeah, sweater season. Love it.
It's just because you're in the Bay. That's why. Anyways, so yeah, let's at least say what we're here for. We introed, and everyone can contribute if they like. But I really just rather skip that stuff and get right onto the topic, even though
Sure.
I know it's
Yeah.
something of importance to us. So the ETH merge is supposed to happen somewhere between today and Thursday, the 13th to the 15th. I know they said they gave a span of somewhere between the 10th and the 20th, but I think they were just trying to give a really generic idea of where it might fall. And now it appears that it may fall. Is that you or is that me? Because I think I'm getting feedback, John. Okay, that's a C3 Media account. Anyways, that the Ethereum merge is going to have a drastic effect on all of the mining. And I know I've been looking at 2miners.com's Ethereum network hash rate monitor. Over the last month, it's been up and down anywhere from 800 to 900 terahash, but it really hasn't fallen off yet. And it's not going to happen until they completely cut everybody off and drop the difficulty bomb. But what I'm really mostly concerned about is what's going to happen to other mining. And it's like, okay, so there's a lot of people selling Ethereum, and of course it was higher than this. When we look back in time, the hash rate's been as high as 1 petahash, and it's dropped down since a lot of people were like, well, what do I do with my miners once Ethereum disappears? When we have the ETHW with that Chinese man who is trying to provide some alternative to Ethereum in the proof of work. But if you look on, I think a lot of people trust What to Mine and Coin Wars as examples of what else can we mine in the absence of Ethereum. You can always go to ETH Classic, but a lot of attention has been given to anything on the POW network, which is Ravencoin, and then it's not really a competitor, but the other coin, which is NeoX, has also gotten a lot of people. And both hash rates for both coins have gone up drastically in the last, let's say, week. And I know because I kind of saw the writing on the board and switched several miners over to Raven and Nexa. I hope I'm saying that right. I mean, everyone has a different pronunciation, but NeoX or NeoXA, and mined a whole lot of NeoXA before the network hash rate went up. And this is what I wanted to talk about in particular. So, per my avatar having the DMO, I know a lot of people have RVN like Quothing, and that's a lot of people who jump into our podcast and come into these spaces on a regular basis, or people who even show up on Braveland have the Raven letters behind their name, and I have no problem with that. I think that's awesome. It's great to have a lot of Raven fans on, but the network hash rate's going up, and I guess what I'm trying to make a point of is that if you've been mining Raven since it came out, there have been plenty of times in the past, in fact, even in 2020, when the network hash rate was many, many, many times what it is right now. What I keep saying about Dynamo is that Dynamo's hash rate is really low right now, and it would be really easy to get a lot of coins on it. Of course, everyone's looking at it like, well, what's this Dynamo thing? Who gives a crap? What difference does it make? It's not worth anything right now. You can't sell it. And this is the thing I've been saying, been ranting and raving about for so long, is you should never look at the price of something now. In fact, I learned this lesson. I was talking to people today at this startup activity I've been working at. that when the price of crypto fell after 2018, between 2018 and basically 2020, early 2020, it was really easy to mine almost every single coin, and a lot of people didn't because they weren't making money then and there. I have never made coin, mined coin, and then sold immediately. I've always waited. I've always waited, 3 to 6 months. Um, Honestly, you should probably wait even longer if the United States government ever makes the coin into something that's like a security, but because then you have to wait the 1 year plus to sell. So you don't get capital gains taxes against you. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is that you should never sell right away. Now, I know some people have to pay their bills. I get that. But if you look at the really big miners out there, people like Riot Blockchain and Marathon, uh, they never sold right away except when they actually had to, which was when this recent downturn, and they sold a lot of their coin. But they pretty much just mined all the time and barely sold anything, if at all. And so to me, the idea of looking at the coin value right now, where Ethereum is right now, is just, I mean, obviously it's going to proof of stake, so you can't mine it anymore. But any other coin that you're turning your GPUs to after proof of stake becomes Ethereum, I guess it's the other way around, but you shouldn't be looking at it selling it right away. You should be looking at it, in when it doubles or triples or pentuples or however multi amount it becomes more valuable. Because if I look at that from the standpoint of Dynamo is like what, 4 cents right now if you're to sell it. Technically, with current machines, you can make more than currently with Ethereum on Dynamo. It's just there's no market for Dynamo. But if you look at it from the standpoint of, well, Dynamo goes back to $1, which is 25x what it's currently worth, then anything you make now is far more valuable when the price goes up. So to me, mining Raven earlier before the hash rate started going up, or Dynamo or Neoxa or anything that's currently low or cheap, even with the price of power wherever you happen to live. Now, if your power is like 2 cents per kilowatt, great, that's pretty good. You're probably still making money at the current price, but you shouldn't be looking at the current price. You should be looking down the road when the price goes up. Like Raven, what was the quote thing, or Lissa or John, what's the highest price that you remember that Raven was at?
Well, that's a good question. I think like what, 12 cents? I think it was
I thought it went to 28.
28. Well, maybe. Just top of my head, I'm just thinking. Quoting. Let's see if Quoting has the answer on that. What's the highest you heard? Go ahead, you guys.
Highest I've ever seen it is like 26 cents.
Right. Okay. So it's at 6 cents right
Yeah,
now.
it's been
26 cents would be roughly.
I was just gonna say 28, 26 cents.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what the current price of Raven? If you just bought, $1,000 worth of Raven right now, if it went back to its absolute highest point, your return would be what, 4.5 times. And if you were mining it, let's say a month ago when the price was low and the cost was high, but you didn't sell any of it, knowing that you were eating the cost, and then when the price goes back up, even if it goes twice what it is right now, it's 6 cents to 12 cents, that's double your investment. So I think the thing that's important to look at with this ETH merge is, and where people are going to point their GPU miners next. Of course, a lot of people are going to sell them. They're just like, well, proof, it's on proof of stake. I can't do anything now. In general, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's important to not look at the current price. It's important to look down the line. Anybody who gets into GPU mining should, if you're going to have to, the payback is going to be over a year or 2 years of time anyways, then why would you be looking at the price right now? It just seems ridiculous to me. So I know that's my 2 Satoshis on mining, but that's really what's happening, right? We're moving away. I think John also wants to talk about the security ramifications of moving away from proof of work.
Yeah, but before we get started with that, let me go ahead and plug in our coin tree here, coin tree for C3 Media. If you guys are watching the YouTube channel, obviously you guys can see visually. For those of you that are not watching, we do have a coin tree. It is cointr.ee/C3 media. We have a bunch of links there if you guys want to help donate. Obviously, we're not getting any income in right now because we don't have any sponsorship or advertisements. So it's all just from community based, just donating to our crypto wallet. So we do accept Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Raven, or if you have some extra assets you want to throw our way, it is asset aware. So yeah, there you go. BAT, Litecoin, Flex, Monero, USDC, GUSD, multi-coin, multi-DAI, Dogecoin. Hey, everybody got Doge. Let's see. SNX, Cake, Stellar, Matic. Obviously, if you guys want to hang out with us in Discord, we're always in Discord, chit-chatting every single day. We do have a YouTube channel. Obviously, we're in Twitter Spaces, Twitch. I am live streaming right now. You guys can go check that out right now to see visually what I am streaming and talking about. And we are trying to build up our Odyssey, which is like a Web3 version of YouTube. So we do port our videos from YouTube over to Odyssey, just in case if anything ever happens to the centralized YouTube, at least we have Odyssey to trust on. So make sure you guys hit the follow button over on Odyssey and check us out on Spotify. So with that said, obviously we're talking about the ETH merge, POW to POS. Before I continue on with the whole security thing, I do want to talk about my historical experience about how I got into Ethereum, because it is an interesting story, I think. So I think I should talk about that real quick. So Ethereum, the way I got into Ethereum, I was obviously in Bitcoin at first, and then I was learning more about coding and ASIC mining. And I remember Antminer came out, and I was studying all that stuff, and it was amazing, right? And then there was this kid that kept popping up on YouTube. It was a young kid, 17-year-old kid, was named Vitalik, right? Nobody knew who this kid was. They just knew that well, at least this was from my point of view. I didn't know who this kid was, right? What I did notice was that he held the attention of suits. What do I mean by suits? The guys that are whales, right? Every time he held a conference to talk about this new thing that he's building, this new crypto that is a virtual machine, an Ethereum virtual machine, the EVM. It's supposed to be bigger and better than Bitcoin. It's going to be able to hold smart contracts. It's supposed to hold let's see, what's the other one? Governance tokens. What is it? DAOs. Yeah, DAOs. Decentralized autonomous organizations. And everybody that was around him was just in awe, just gawking at him like this guy's a genius, right? So I was more fascinated with these guys that are in their 50s, 60s with suits and ties are just bowing down to the 17-year-old kid, just so nerdy, right? The nerdiest kid in the world, you can see, 17-year-olds on stage. And he looks like a nerd, he sounds like a nerd, he talks like a nerd. He's everything of the definition of a nerd, right? It's crazy. But when you see these guys just bow down, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I want to know what this guy's talking about. So he did have a white paper. So I went ahead and read the white paper, and it was fascinating to see that there's this new technology coming out, this virtual machine, right? This Ethereum virtual machine where it's completely different from what Bitcoin offers, and you can pretty much create virtually anything you could think of. It's basically the way he described it at the time was, it is a blockchain based internet, right? The Ethereum virtual machine is supposed to be the road of the internet, and then all the businesses are your business, my business, everybody's business is going to be built along this road, this internet road on the blockchain. So we no longer have to trust the centralized internet and be shut down by these centralized networks, right? We can actually trust the blockchain. So I said, okay, I'm gonna get in. I have to get in, right? At the time, unfortunately, I had a majority of my tokens locked up in cloud mining. This is something it no longer exists, but cloud mining was if you couldn't afford your own hardware and you couldn't set it up, you can pay companies for a contract of 3, 6, 9, 12 months, 2 years, whatever it is, to lock up your coins into their contract and earn revenue by using their machines that they'll put aside that you can earn tokens or earn Bitcoin or Dogecoin, I think at the time, or Feathercoin, Redcoin I think was another one. Well, for me it was all just Bitcoin, so I would just earning. I was earning more Bitcoin on my Bitcoin. It was locked up, and Vitalik came out with this white paper saying that he's going to have an ICO. The first ICO ever to come out was the Ethereum token, right? Basically, the contract came out. You got to deposit your Bitcoin, and in return, you get X amount of Ethereum. I forgot the exact conversion, but I remember in USD, it came out at about 3 cents. 3 cent Ethereum. That was crazy, right? And I didn't get into like about a few days after, because good thing my contract was on the verge of ending. It was just a couple more days. I'm like, I wanted to get in on day one, right? But that didn't happen. I got in like just like a couple days after that. Um, by that point, it went up to like 12 cents, 15 cents, 30 cents. I think I got in around like 12 cents. And it did go back down to like 3. It was wild. It was going up and down, boom, boom, boom. There's all kinds of crazy activity. It was the wild, wild west. I remember that was a crazy time. Then ICOs came out. I did a whole thing out here. I was hosting meetups here in Silicon Valley, a bunch of ICOs doing their thing. But yeah, Ethereum, that's what really fascinated me, was the whole decentralized internet. Awesome, man. And since then, there's been a lot of amazing projects that have come out that probably would not have existed without something like Ethereum Virtual Machine. Now, I'm not a proponent nowadays. Back then it was amazing to play games and just mess around with these contracts that people developed and to use my token, just interact. I'm using my decentralized tokens that I have in my own private wallet to just jump on a contract and just interact with it. That's so unbelievable. And my interactions is actually giving more value to whatever I'm building. For example, games. If I have a character in a game, I can actually build up a stats and then sell that character on a third party market, right? That was amazing because I've never seen that. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but World of Warcraft, I think, was one of them that you can sell items in.
You can sell items in it, but it's not a game that you can sell items. I mean, they did do it in Diablo. You could actually sell real life money, but never in World of Warcraft.
Yeah. So for me, having this experience, it was amazing because transaction fees at the time, I was literally paying one. But you have to keep in mind that the value of Ethereum at the time was like less than $1. So for me to pay, less than 5 cents, I'm literally paying 1, 2, 3 cents at the most per transaction. I was dumping all kinds of transactions left and right, messing with everything that was built. And these websites, these contracts were coming out like crazy. And the ICO boom, even crazier. But then shortly thereafter, I think it was Kitties, the crypto Kitties is what really made the transaction fee skyrocket, because that was finally the point where the blocks were actually filled, and that's where we started to hit a lot of trouble. Damn, crypto kitties actually flooded the market with all these spam transactions, and nobody can actually push any legitimate transactions into the network. And that's where the miners took advantage of it and started hiking up the prices. So it was no longer 1, 2, 3 cents per transaction. It was now 50 cents, $1. And then from there, it was all hell broke loose. And as we all know that are here right now, it's skyrocketed up to $50, $100, $180. I've even seen some of them up there in the $300 range. Crazy, man, crazy. For a single transaction, when I used to pay 1 cent, is now $300, is insanity. Insanity. And that's where I said, you know what, I'm 100% walking away from this platform. I don't want nothing to do with this. This is insane. So since then, I've left Ethereum. I don't want to touch it. There's so many other amazing projects out there. And I actually, after that, I found Ravencoin. Yeah, Ravencoin was an amazing project, and I love the community. Everybody accepted me, unlike other projects out there that were just crypto bros. They didn't even know what they're getting into, but like, yeah, this is gonna be the next Bitcoin, man. We've got to get into this. They had no idea, and they didn't really care about the community. Everybody was just biting each other's heads off. But Ravencoin, I always found trust and love in there. They always took the time to help each other out, and that was amazing. I really feel like it's been family out there. So I got to thank the Ravencoin fam for out there supporting me, just helping me learn more about crypto. And that's why I'm still here, man. I want to continuously learn more and more about blockchain technology. I love blockchain technology, and I've said this many times before. The only reason I got into crypto was when I read Satoshi's white paper, not because of Bitcoin, But because of the blockchain technology, that's what fascinated me. And so since then, there's been many other projects that have come out, and I'm always just amazed at how many small little tweaks are going on with blockchain just to make it more advanced to the next stage. All right, so now we're going to transition over to, unless you actually, you know what? I want to hear you guys' story before we move over to security. I want to hear you guys' story of how you guys got into Ethereum. Jake?
Never really got into Ethereum. I will say that I did at the end of 2019 realize that I could mine Ethereum relatively cheaply, even though the price wasn't very high. I didn't actually start mining it until like May of 2020, right after you and I met and started doing the podcasty stuff. And what I realized was it was only $300. It was relatively easy to do. I started mining in my garage, bought a couple of GPUs from a guy who was trying to get out of Ethereum, thinking that what's happening right now was going to happen 2 years ago. Of course, it didn't. We all knew this. But what ended up happening was it became apparent that a friend of mine who had a lot of cards wasn't using them and didn't really want to have anything to do with it. It's like, here, take the cards, do what you want, just give them back to me when you're done. And so I started mining because of him. And then it wasn't maybe 4 or 5 months before the price blew up. I didn't know that was going to happen, but I don't think anybody really knew it was going to happen. So I only got into Ethereum for not for me. I actually don't own. I don't think I own hardly any Ethereum. I've spent a lot of it on smart contracts, but I don't really own any. And I've tried to stay pretty much out of the smart contracts market just because the cost was so ridiculously high. So yeah, I'm not an Ethereum guy. Don't really like Ethereum. Never really liked Ethereum. I just did it for other people.
Cool. How about you, Lissa? And welcome, by the way. It's nice to see you out here.
Yeah, Mister. I'm never around. Well, you're never on when I'm on. Um. Anyway, I got into Ethereum through Coinbase. Um. When I was doing in 2020 when COVID first hit, like obviously I was at home, and then Xander was at home with me because he's out on workers comp, and I was dealing with the stock market, and he was starting in this thing in crypto, and then I was like f stocks because they're so manipulative, and then I started in on Coinbase, and I started buying and selling ERC20 tokens, different ones, and then um, he started in on Ravencoin, brought me over into Ravencoin. Then I'm still in Ravencoin, but then I started over into Ethereum NFTs here recently since gas fees are like not in the thousands of dollars anymore, and ETH is coming down. So I own like 3 or 4 ETH NFTs, but other than that, I try to stay away from ETH. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my story, I guess.
Awesome. All right, so everyone that's here right now, I just want to let you guys know that if you guys have a project going on right now, you guys will have a chance to talk about that. I just want to go through this full Ethereum thing first. Okay, so next we have Quoting. Quoting, how did you get into Ethereum? What's your story?
Yo, what's going on, bro? What's up, everybody?
Man, thanks for being here.
Yeah, dude, super juiced. I definitely love popping on. Um, Ethereum. Well, I guess I got into it a little relatively late, I would say, when it was in the hundreds of dollars. Um, I was I thought I was Mr. Cool Day Trader not too long ago. I'd say 5 years ago, 4 years ago, and yeah, day traded ETH and Bitcoin. Um, Typically on Coinbase, early on Cash App and all of that stuff for Bitcoin. And yeah, so got into that. The ETH NFT space kind of blew up. Um, I don't know. I guess I hold a few ETH NFTs. Most recently, I just purchased one last night, one of the alien friends, and I don't know. I guess how I see ETH is just trying to, I guess, take a very small bet that I would not really care if it completely tanked, and it would be at least worth something if it really blew up from here. And that's kind of the position I've just always taken with ETH because I don't know, I don't really like the project and I definitely don't like the foundation. But that's for a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of the foundation, I think that's where the revelation came to be. For me, the revelation came to be that Ethereum is not truly decentralized. There is a centralized entity, which is the foundation that really, truly manipulates and runs what Ethereum is. And another one, I won't ever forget another memory I have, an experience I have is when the DAO got hacked. I don't know if you guys remember that story. The DAO got hacked. Pretty much, it was the first DAO on Ethereum ever to exist, and everybody dumped their Ethereum into the DAO. It was crazy. I would say the majority of people put their Ethereum on there. So if this hacker got away, it would have meant the end of Ethereum. Now, unfortunately for Bitcoin, if something like this happened on Bitcoin, unless Satoshi's around, nobody can really reverse transactions on Bitcoin unless the whole world agrees in a consensus that they can reverse transactions and fork off a um, a new chain. But obviously, that's not going to happen because there's so many nodes out there in Bitcoin. Now, Ethereum, since it was fresh and so it was new, there wasn't that many nodes, and the majority were being held by the foundation. So the foundation was easily able to manipulate and fork off a Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. Obviously, Ethereum Classic stayed with the original DAO hack, and Ethereum was taken over by the foundation.
Bitcoin did the same thing twice, except
Bitcoin?
yeah, they
And,
didn't even fork it. It was just a rollback.
yeah, yeah. In the early days, yeah, when they had a what was it? One of them was like an infinite amount of coins. I think it was. Do you remember the second one?
Yeah, it was a double spend, and then the second one I think was a. I'm pretty sure the second one was the same thing, a different type of exploit for it, but it was a double spend,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah,
just
yeah.
jacked themselves with like 600 million, or it was like yeah, I think it was like 600 million Bitcoin, something unfucking believable.
Yeah,
Basically, they would have ran the show.
right. Yeah. Okay. So we have that dude, crypto, and Xander. If you guys want to speak on your experience of how you got into Ethereum, right now is your chance. You guys have the mic. You guys can jump on stage and let us know. No takers? Okay.
You you guys do know that like they're trying to fork the proof of stake, right? To still keep proof of work. Like there's a mining out of I think Russia trying to stay with proof of work. And I've heard,
Yep.
I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that they're doing a snapshot of all the Ethereum that you have in your wallet if you hold Ethereum. Again, don't know how true that is, but that's just what I've heard from other people.
It
Yeah,
sounds
it'll
like
be like the way that Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold were when they split off from Bitcoin, that they would try to mimic the amount of that you had into the new chain. Um, and I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It probably will happen. It and I guess in a sense you could look at it from like John's story earlier when he's talking about early days of Ethereum. Nobody knew what Ethereum was going to be in 4 years, so nobody knows what in another off chain of Ethereum will be in 4 years or even 2 years or tomorrow for that matter. So
yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of snapshotting and forking Ethereum. Everybody, it's right now. It's going to be a money grab. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of coins being
yep,
spun off of Ethereum to say, hey man, we're going to stick with proof of work because people around the world want GPU mining. Period. So for Ethereum to move on over to proof of stake, it's kind of sketch. Like the world, I don't know anybody that's like, yeah, let's move over to proof of stake. Do you guys have you guys found anybody out there that's like, yeah, man, this is proof of stake is the best thing. I don't know
One
anybody out
thing,
there.
yeah. One thing worse, actually, even worse than that. So I don't know how familiar you are with Richard Hart. He was actually around in the early Bitcoin days, and has given Craig Wright quite a bit of shit publicly on stage for trying to claim that he's Satoshi. Anyways, he's forking the Ethereum chain onto proof of stake. He was the goal was to have it out before the merge was done, but transaction fees are going to be cheaper. Everything that you hold on Ethereum, including your ERC 721s, everything is going to be in your wallet on Pulse Chain. And their whole idea is that they wanted to literally obliterate Ethereum because, well, that's a whole nother story. Because they hurt his
Well, that was
feelings on
PulseX,
fees
wasn't it?
for,
Yeah,
yeah,
both.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, yeah,
John and I are super familiar with PulseX.
yeah. We talked about it before on the podcast several times. Yeah,
Did you guys sacrifice?
Yes, we both
yeah.
sacrificed.
I'll admit I did as well. I mean I threw $300 at it because, I mean, shit, why not?
Well, let me ask you this, go thing. Um, would my coins be better off sitting on Celsius or sitting with Richard Hart?
Wow, we're digging
Exactly.
we're
So
digging at the bottom of the barrel here.
yeah, that's where I'm at, and yeah, that's where I'm at, right?
I think Richard Hart is smarter.
Yeah.
He is equally more cocky as he is smarter, but yeah, I fucking hate to say it, but yes, he's definitely very
We've,
intelligent.
we've already seen what can happen, even with people who think they know what they're doing. I mean, we've already seen Michael Saylor take a huge hit to his company. He's lost, what, a third of the value of MicroStrategy and his Bitcoin investment. And Three Arrows Capital and Voyager Digital and all these other companies dependent upon those companies, as well as the collapse decline of Terra. So about, what was it, the highest point we were at was what, 2.5, almost 3 trillion US dollar equivalent in value. And where are we at now? Just north of 1 trillion US dollars on the entire crypto market. So $2 trillion went south in the last 9 months due to all kinds of things, primarily Terra, but a lot of different failures within the market. So does anybody really know what they're doing? No, they don't. Does that mean I know what I'm doing? No, but everyone's hoping that they can figure this out. So, I mean, just even the people who are the biggest players still lost everything.
I
I
mean,
don't
there's still a scientifically calculable, like, calculus here that something could go wrong on the fork to proof of stake. I mean, it's
exactly. Yeah,
entirely fucking possible.
yeah, yeah. I like how
What,
you bleep yourself out, Jake.
oh,
Yeah,
I didn't say the foul word? Yeah, whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Bleep.
it's just an old habit.
Yeah, sorry about the language, by the way.
No, I'm not
No, no
offended. I
worries,
just
man. No worries, no worries.
it's
It's okay.
an old habit from days at church. So, I,
Is that how you talk to the kids? Oh, Jesus.
no, it's
Jesus.
in board meetings, but I don't want to curse. So,
Okay. All right. So Ethereum currently right now is sitting at 1,500. Let me actually refresh this. Not that it's going to matter much, but let's refresh it. $1,590.46. It's currently up by 0.7% with the total market cap of $191 billion. And it looks like it's actually going down. The past 24 hours, it is down by 6.2% and just slightly up on the 7 days at 1.7%. So it was pretty much a pump and dump currently. What I feel like is going to happen is that this is my prediction. All right, my prediction is once the proof of stake locked tokens, right? Because remember, there's millions and millions of tokens locked in the smart contract for proof of stake. You guys do recall that, right? A lot of tokens had to be locked in order for the Ethereum proof of stake to occur. Once those coins get unlocked, people are going to dump those. The whales are going to dump those, and not people. The whales will dump those on the market, which is going to devalue Ethereum. This is my prediction. You guys, obviously, you can challenge that or come up with a better, I guess, prediction. I don't read charts. I just, just this is, I guess, what humans do. I think, right? Naturally, people once they have the coins in their possession, cool. I had it locked up for 2 years when it was supposed to be less than 1 year, or, basically almost 3 years, right? Why not jump onto the market now? Right now is a good time than ever, right? So yeah, 1,590. Cool thing. Go ahead.
They're, I mean, they're not instantly going to be unlocked. There's
Right.
quite a few of these where your staking pools are, where it's not exactly determined when you will be able to unlock that. So I think that there's going to be an inevitable sell off once that becomes available. And like you said, I wonder if whales were going to have that opportunity well beforehand of everybody else. I mean, Jesus, there's a lot of thought that goes behind that.
Okay, so so you already said it right there. Wells most likely will sell it. They want their fiat. They want their money. They're not in it for the crypto. They're not in it for the technology. They're in it for the money, right? This is the reason why they invested hundreds of millions, if not billions, of dollars into Ethereum to make sure that they get their payout, right?
Well, think about it. What's the yield?
Well, shit, I
Right?
don't know.
Like when they first started, it was probably around 10% roughly. And it was a 12 ETH minimum. Actually, at first, I believe it was 120 ETH the minimum. So then you're talking, a 10% return on that. It's, that's a lot of Ethereum that
Yeah,
you're going to gain.
yep. What's crazy is that the second prediction that I have is that who's gonna buy up this Ethereum? Right? The person, the one thing, the one, I guess, entity that's not going, can I call it an entity? The one organization that's not going to sell and is just going to continue to buy more, and it's going to make it more centralized, if not indefinitely centralized, will be the foundation. No BS. That's my prediction. The foundation will buy up everything that's being sold because they can. Why not? Right? If they hold the majority of the stake, guess what? Ethereum is going to be centralized, held by the foundation, and nothing more. Nobody can compete with it, right? The Russians will have it all, right? And when I say Russians, I'm talking Vitalik, right? So that's my prediction. Do you guys have better predictions? What do you guys think? Is Ethereum going to get hacked like on day one and everything's just going to collapse, and then Vitalik's going to be like, okay, we screwed up. We're going to have to reverse this and postpone proof of stake and go back to proof of work temporarily. We're just going to be like a slap to the face, like even after all the developers said it's working fine. Any
That would be a
predictions?
gigantic feat, because the beacon chain is already rolling for mainnet for them. So basically, both of these, and that was part of that. Fuck, what was the name? The Bellatrix upgrade that they did is that these
Yeah.
chains are running parallel of each other. So let's say that that happens, the difficulty bomb goes off, so there is no more mining of proof of work, and the beacon chain is going to roll. That is the chain. Like, and if it fails, there's a, I mean, there's so much that could go wrong. Like,
Yep.
think of just the DeFi and NFT space alone, much less the ecosphere like of Ethereum itself.
This would give the best opportunity for whoever forks the Ethereum time snap, or time snap, and makes their chain with an affordable fee. Still keep a POW. Um, yeah, they're going to come up a lot. And the idea, and I'm assuming some of you guys are here from Ravencoin. Obviously, Ravencoin's going to pick some of that up. Hopefully, a lot of it up, right? Same thing with Dynamo. Dynamo is going to pick
But they
some of that.
already have.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
Raven has doubled its network hash rate in just the last week. So
yep. There's a lot of other coins that are out there on the market. I think Xander does have one as well. We'll get to that in a bit. Unless you guys want to talk about that now. You guys want to talk about coins?
I'm mining ETH POW already on testnet.
ETH POW on testnet. There you go. Anybody? Okay, so we got Dynamo mining. We have Raven coin mining. We have what is it? You said ETH POW. ETH POW on testnet.
Yep.
We're going Flux.
ETH
Flux,
Classic. ETH
ETH
yeah,
Classic.
ETH Classic, POW, Flux is up.
Classic.
Firo is another one, FIRO. And then, as I was saying earlier, Neo XA or Neo X is another one that's picking up a lot of that stuff. But I mean, even I mentioned earlier on, the ETH hash rate is still, well, at least as of last I checked, at somewhere between 800 and 900 terahash. I think the reason for the keeping the numbers, unsure is they don't want to alert anybody who's going to try to do a 51% attack to the fact that things are changing. So they're like, yeah, we're not going to announce it to anybody. It's just going to be random. It's going to happen whenever we think it's going to happen. And it'll just switch over, and then they'll drop the bomb when hopefully least expected.
I think that, yeah, there's I mean, you got to think people that are mining ETH and anyone who's ever mined it before, the payouts are a little bit high and they take far longer on the minimum payout than they do for like Ravencoin or Flux. Um, so there's people that are really probably hoping to hit that number so that they get another payout before this puppy switches over, and they're not going to stop because why the fuck would you? I mean, that just seems stupid to rip yourself off of profitability that sure as hell isn't going to be paid out, and I'm sure the pools are just going to keep in their pocket. Um, so I'm sure that there's a large amount of that, and that I mean, you can watch these migrations if you're following what Raven Skulls, if you're following what he's posting up and he's tracking the HiveOS migration of miners, um, and slowly but surely you see it trickling little bit by little bit into mostly Ravencoin, Flux, and Neoxa. Yeah, I don't think anyone knows how to fucking say this one right. Um, you can literally watch that migration happening. I think that once that difficulty bomb hits, I think that it's actually going to throw off a lot of these proof of work uh, hash rates and difficulty. I see Raven spiking very high, in my opinion. Raven spiking very high, judging by the way that we've been seeing hash rate grow, and it hasn't been switched off yet. So, I mean, here we go.
Actually, I'm curious to know what Xander was saying earlier. Xander, you said you're into ETH POW.
Yeah, I'm mining ETH POW on the testnet. There's like 8 pools that are available already that have spun up for ETH proof of work or ETH whatever you
And
want
but
to
you're
call it.
it's still testnet, so there's no coins available, right?
No, but you do get testnet coins, which is whatever. But at least it works, so I know it's working because I'm
Good.
receiving
It's
testnet
good to know
coins.
that it's good to know that they're actually working on the testnet because it's like um, does Vitalik and the Ethereum Foundation control this? Yeah, effectively they do. Um, but as we've been arguing all this time for years, if not or months, if not years, is this centralized? I mean, if it is this a company? It can, and if it is a company, then I guess the local government can control it however they like. But I thought the whole point of coins, crypto, etc., was freedom from centralization. So people decide what they want to decide. If they want to go with the ETH because it's popular, great. Go with the new ETH proof of work. Who's to say that ETH proof of stake is the end all be all? Just John does have a point though to this end that most of the projects are still on ETH, the original ETH, not classic, but current ETH, or ETH 1.5. No. all these smart contracts are still on that ETH version. So does this other ETH just for the sake of proof of work have validity? We'll see.
Yeah, so I mentioned it several times before that Ethereum currently has a massive ecosystem with so many companies, projects, agencies, you name it. It's so massive that to have another, even if another project forks off of it and say that, and they are actually better technically, they have more affordable transaction fees, they're faster, they can adapt more code, you know, regardless. Ethereum holds all of this ecosystem, this gigantic ecosystem for for people to move away from that. There's also liquidity there for people to move away from that and try to take that sacrifice or that chance to move over to a chain that has very minimal in comparison to Ethereum, minimal amount of liquidity. It's like, why, if you're a company and you have 100 plus employees and you have to pay them, it's not a small project, you have to pay them, and you're going to take a risk to move over to this other chain that technically is better, but there's no liquidity on there. You're going to take that chance. That's a big risk. So that's going to be the issue of all these forks to come in the future, or already exist and people are just moving over to it. So the idea is that something like Ravencoin has a really good advantage that it does have a historical data track there. There is a network of pools and miners and projects out there. Now we just got to convince the people to move over to a project that already exists. Quoting, 1 second before you open your mic. I do have chat here on Twitch, and I want to make sure I plug this in. It is actually for you, sir. Quoting. This is from Polytech. Polytech says, "Tell Quoting I said what's up." All right, you don't know him, but he's our number one viewer on here, and I guess he appreciates you being on Twitter Spaces with us.
Well, I love it. Hell yeah. I mean, I think that I have like an assumption and I guess a guess of what you were thinking of what's going to happen with the proof of work with Ethereum and everything. Who's going to be developing that that proof of work fork that's going to be happening? And ultimately, the answer doesn't matter because it isn't Vitalik and it isn't the foundation. It isn't all of these funds where that they control and move consensus, right? Like that at the end of the day, that is what makes Ethereum functionable to the way that it is. And I think that no matter what kind of spin that they try to put on this, there's a lot of development that goes into the Ethereum ecosystem that I'd imagine is pretty consistent monitoring and work being done towards it that is going to be 100% abandoned once this merge is done. I don't see any of these other things succeeding. And I can hate Ethereum for this move all that I want, but we have to kind of probably appreciate it for what it is. It's a pretty fucking magnificent thing that's gonna happen here. And being able, if they can pull this off, it really is something in a technological sense. I truly like. I'm kind of fascinated by it. I hate them for it, and I hate the foundation for it. But that's besides the point. I think it's a really huge technological advancement and can prove a lot of really interesting points, either right or wrong, on either side of the argument that you fall. And time will only tell.
Yeah, absolutely. I was saying this on I think our last episode that it's so amazing. This is what I said, and I think Jake, you sort of corrected me or just slightly modified it. For visual purposes. Imagine a plane up in the sky flying, and that plane is the Ethereum virtual machine. And in order for it to upgrade, to have a successful upgrade in mid-flight, imagine being a passenger on that plane and another plane just lands on top of that, says, "Hey, we're gonna send some engineers and some developers to upgrade the tech, to upgrade the wings." In mid-flight, this thing can literally crash and burn and kill everybody, right? Or it can upgrade and become a amazing jet, or even a rocket and go to the moon, man. We don't know, and so that's what I agree with you, man. This is going to be an amazing thing if it's successful. And I'm more of a I wanted to see it succeed, but I'm also with you quoting in regards to I despise that Ethereum is moving away from proof of work to proof of stake because I'm a big proof of work believer. Not that I don't hold coins that are proof of stake. Okay, so once again, I am coin agnostic. I love coins. So there's a lot of coins that I do hold that are proof of stake. But my heart lies with proof of work. Let's see here. Lissa, go ahead.
Did she back off?
Yeah, go ahead, Lissa.
Nothing. I just got rugged. So I.
Oh no, it wasn't me. I promise.
No, I got rugged.
Okay. All right. So moving in regards to security, right? The Ethereum security. Um, refresh my mind, Jake. What do we talk about? There's so much to talk about. In regards to security, moving away from proof of work, obviously everybody knows proof of work is the most secure blockchain out there. No questions about that because it is truly decentralized. It is not owned by one entity. It is owned by fractions of people and companies and agencies and corporations all around the globe in every single like state, nation, island. I've seen some folks over in Brazil that had some ASICs that they're using. Actually, Xander, that's actually what Xander was doing. That's what it reminded me of. These guys are using recycled coconut oil to produce fuel to run their ASICs, and this is what they're doing in Brazil, which is amazing. It's a small little outdoor farm. I think they had maybe like 4 ASICs on there, not much, but it's still amazing to see that technology to happen where they go around to restaurants and they just collect used coconut oil and then they put it into this machine that produces fuel out of it, and from fuel to electricity to their ASICs to the computer, and there's magical internet money, which is another coin there.
Yeah, Dash and Litecoin is popular down in South America.
Yeah.
So yeah, the point of proof of work being that it's decentralized and it gives people more control, and you can have any person wanting to do it. All realistically, if you're mining ETH, if you're not using a pretty powerful ETH mining device, you're probably not going to be garnering a whole lot of coin. But regardless of that, you can still support the network. Anybody like the one thing I got into quite some time ago, and the company unfortunately hasn't been doing all that well. It's called CoinMine, just 2 words squished together.com, coinmine.com, where they would sell you an $800 device that allow you to mine Bitcoin in a very simple way. Bitcoin, Ethereum, I believe Zcash, Grin, Monero. Not a whole lot of options, but it's a very simple machine. And the idea was that you could make the money back in less than a year. And generally that's been true when the price has been up. But it only made something like between $2 and $5 a day, which is pretty low. But it made it simple for anybody to get into manufacture of coin, mining their own without having to know how to build a computer. And the advantage therein was that it gave the decentralization of all coins to a whole lot of people throughout the world. And you could just buy this machine and join the network and support the network. Whereas you can certainly, with proof of stake like on Solana, buy a bunch of coins, stake them, and become an authenticator. But so can anybody with a lot of money. I mean, what the entire value of Ethereum right now is what, 200 billion?
Do you know the financial collateral to be a Solana validator?
I don't know actually what it is, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is regardless of whether or not it be high or low, the point is that I was making an analogy to the richest man in the planet, Elon Musk, who, whether or not he's still worth 300 billion, I don't know. And the entire value of Ethereum. Now, I can't see Elon had enough trouble trying to come up with 44 billion to buy Twitter. But the man, if he could buy the entirety of all Ethereum with the effective value of his net wealth, could technically take it over. And he's not the only person. A conglomerate of people could go in and just say, oh, we're going to buy 60% of all Ethereum, and then we'll become the authenticators, and then we decide. That not that couldn't happen with proof of work. It could technically happen, and we said this with Bitcoin when Bitcoin was still in China, or at least more heavily in China. That technically at one point China owned 70% of all Bitcoin, but that's not one entity. It was just one country. Technically, if we look at it from that standpoint, planet Earth is currently in charge of all the coins, but we haven't decided as a group to double spend.
So this actually reminds me of Steemit. I don't know if you guys recall Steemit. Steemit was an awesome platform where people can go and just have an open conversation on blockchain, and it pretty much just if you write really nice articles or post awesome, amazing photos, you can get upvoted, and then from there the contract will spit out rewards to you, which is cool. Because I mean, if you're a really amazing writer and you're really thoughtful about stuff, or you're a really amazing artist, whether it be through music, through video, through art, you post that stuff, and people just appreciate your work. You can upvote that, or even an open a community conversation. If you're really great at just bringing the community together, and people are just constantly communicating on your post, you get upvoted by the community, and then when the block spits out rewards, you get a chunk of that. Now that was decentralized until a CEO by the name of Justin Sun. I don't know if you guys recall or know who that is. That is the CEO of the Tron Foundation. If you guys don't recall, he took over Steemit by, first of all, convincing anybody that was holding a majority, all the whales. He convinced all the whales to pretty much go with his consensus, right? All the exchanges that held Steem at token, he convinced them to go for his proposal. And with his money influence, because obviously he owns Tron Foundation, he had a lot of money already, and was able to buy at a large amount of coins. He was able to manipulate the network and ends up buying it out. Now he owns it. Yes, if you have enough money, you can absolutely buy out a centralized network, aka proof of stake. Okay, that's what that means. I don't care what anybody says out, and you're going to hear this a lot, that proof of stake is decentralized because there's nodes placed all around the world. No, if you hold a majority of those coins, and the contract is that obviously influenced by voting mechanisms. You know, anybody that's holding the majority of coins, that's a bad thing. And what I fear is that when these tokens are unlocked off of Ethereum, they're going to get dumped onto the market, bringing the value down at a discounted price for the foundation or for another whale out there to buy it all up and to basically own Ethereum, which is sad to see, man. It's really sad to see.
There was an example of this, John. Can't remember the name of the DAO, where the one of the DAO participants bought up a majority stake in the DAO and then voted themselves the entire value, or 90% of the DAO. I'm not saying this is necessarily what would happen within Ethereum, but it could happen. It has been already proved within a DAO example when the DAO owner basically held a vote when no one else was paying attention, which has definitely happened in Congress before, and voted themselves all the value. Like, nope, I vote, putting the proposal forward, that this person, myself being that person, should get all the value within the DAO. And because I already have 60% or 80% of all the value, I am now the owner of all that value. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Yep, it sounds crazy, but it really happened. And so the same thing could, although it's unlikely too, because anybody who owns that much of Ethereum probably wants to have more functionality. But still, it's not unrealistically possible for someone to just make those changes. Like with proof of work, you really have to be running those machines. Now, not to say that somebody couldn't buy all those machines up and do that kind of thing, but it would be a lot more difficult to do. Not impossible, but more difficult to do. So, sorry, Corthin, you got something to say?
I mean, I was just going to kind of give a thought experiment. And as much as I love him, and thankfully he doesn't have any kind of bad intentions, in my opinion, but Bitsby Trippin controls a pretty damn large amount of hash rate of Ravencoin. And I mean, I'll be honest, like whatever he votes on as far as the P2SH pretty much decides the fate of that in a really drastic amount. So I think that it's just kind of worth discussing that is entirely a possibility on a proof of stake or proof of work, just granted that the party wanted to make a move like that and have that level of resources, which Bitsby Trippin does.
First of all, thank you for that. Second of all, I didn't know that he owned a massive amount of.
Yeah, me either.
You said network or coins? Sorry.
No, I'm pretty sure he maintains 15% of the hash rate of Ravencoin, at least what it was like a week or so ago.
Oh, okay. So so this week's a whole different week. We all know what happened to Ravencoin this week, man. A lot of people onboarded. So yeah.
That's facts.
Yep, which is a good thing for the ecosystem, right? You want more miners on the network to bring more value to it. Obviously, process more transactions. Not that where Ravencoin is struggling with processing transactions, because I mean, on average, there's a handful of transactions per block because every block is they're 1 minute blocks. So the Ravencoin output is pretty high in regards to that. So it's not an issue right now. So yeah. What was the next thing? Proof of stake. We talked about proof of work. Proof of stake. Transition over to proof of stake. I'm trying to think of the first coin out there to do proof of stake. Can't think on the top of my head. Jake, take over real quick while I look this up. If you don't mind, please. I apologize.
I don't recall which one. I just know that there have been quite a number of proof of stake coins out there. Obviously, Litecoin and things like Litecoin are all proof of work, much like obviously Ethereum. But yeah, I can't remember which one it was either. But yeah, the proof of stake. Oh, I was thinking it was Hedera, Algo. I was thinking Hedera.
No,
Hedera was
Hedera.
one of the earliest.
No,
Cardano.
this it says right here, pure
Cardano,
coin.
right? Cardano, right?
This is pure coin is way before, man. This is OG, man. Purecoin is back in 2012, and they were the first ones to do proof of stake. Now we have Blackcoin, NXT, Cardano, and Algorand. Yes. Yes. Crazy, man. Crazy.
Speaking
Now we
of
got
governance and voting and everything, if anyone's participated in governance for Algorand, I have, and it's pretty much decided by a couple people, and it literally will never deviate from what the foundation of Algorand suggests. And I've always kind of found that really disturbing when it comes time to the
absolutely
vote for governance.
that's gonna be Ethereum, hands down. That's
100%.
what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about.
100%.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating about this is that you can't call yourself a blockchain and then be a centralized company and say, yeah, we're decentralized. No, you're not. You're not. The foundation runs it all. The community can't. First of all, to have community participation, we all know it's extremely difficult to have community participation. First of all, okay, unless you're making money off of that, it's very difficult to have people participate. So the only people that are really going to participate is if it benefits them, which is one, the foundation, two, the whales, community third, last, right? It's very difficult to have the community participate. So the ones that are really going to influence and make changes in regards to, I guess, any future updates or forking or whatever, is going to be the foundation and the whales. It's sad. It's the truth, you know. And what different is it than what's going on now when we have people in Congress and banks pretty much making the decisions and influencing the world economy? You know, is that truly what Satoshi wanted? That's why I despise what's going on with this. You know, yes, once again, quoting, I'm going to go with you that this is going to be an amazing thing to happen to be part of this historical moment. I can go back to uh, to the great grandkids and be like, yeah, yes, I was a part of that. It was amazing. It was amazing to see this phenomenal magic happen. But truth be told, it was a bunch of BS. It should not have happened because centralization is what we were trying to get away from.
Sure you're not an actor in real life? Yeah, the change into decentralization is what we're trying to get away from, but it's under pressure. Like, think about what happened. Elon Musk bought a ton of Bitcoin, announced that Tesla was going to accept Bitcoin, and it was going to be part of their ecosystem, and people would be able to buy Teslas with Bitcoin. And then a lot of people got in his case, both through Twitter and other directions. Hey, that's damaging the environment. Aren't you an electric car company? Aren't you trying to make green stuff? And he was like, oh, I should sell this. And I was like, dude, I didn't think Elon was such a pushover. Maybe I just don't know him that well. But just the fact that he was so, like, oh, yeah, well, we're not going to do that. That would be bad. That would make us look bad. It's PR nightmare. Okay, dude, so I guess you really are just a corporate shill. I mean, maybe I was wrong. Maybe he always is, and I just don't know. But
Oh, yeah, yeah. So I already lost my train of thought. Proof of stake. So we talked about Ethereum. Is Ethereum Foundation is going to take it over, and the coin's going to get dumped onto the market. Are there any predictions out there that you guys haven't mentioned? And I don't think I've heard any predictions out there other than from what Closing was talking about. Lissa or Xander or Jake, what do you guys think is going to happen to Ethereum here, or to the ecosystem, just the crypto ecosystem in general? Are people going to just dump their GPUs onto the market, Are they going to hold on to that and continue mining other coins? I think there was some predictions out there, Jake. You were mentioning on a previous podcast. I think maybe it was off air that there's going to be a dump of GPUs on the market. It's going to be a massive sell off. It's going to be very affordable to buy GPUs here in the coming next few months, if not next.
My broker was talking about this because he deals in GPUs on a regular basis, and that's where I get a lot of my stuff from. He was just like, "Yeah, I'm expecting the price of GPUs to drop by 2/3. So if you were going to pay $150 for like an old 580, then it'll be $50 after the merge." Now, I'm not 100% on that. I haven't looked at prices in the last 2 weeks, so I don't really know. But I think he's right. There may be a drop because a lot of people are not. I don't know what to do with this because there's also the problem of power usage. But because right now it's not super profitable. The price of Ethereum is too low. But there's going to be a lot of people who just give up on it. There's already been a lot of people who've given up on it, and a lot of people who are either in it for the long haul or people who have been are like, well, I bought it and I have to be in the long haul, so I'm going to mine something else. But hopefully, people are doing their research. For me, honestly, I thought that the drop off would be more gradual. In fact, this is what Card was saying from Bitsby Trippin, was he thought it was going to be more gradual as well, or at least he was hoping it was going to be, rather than this potential of everyone just switching all at once the bomb is dropped. So it's the GPU values are in my honest opinion are going to go down in the next few days, if not week. And it may stay down for a while until people figure out what else they can do, what else they can make money on. Like I said, Raven has come up in value, and Raven's hash rate has gone up drastically. Neoxe has also gone up in its price, and it's actually Neoxe has gone up a lot in price. And then of course there's Flux and Furo and ETH Classic, and then whatever ETH POW does. But we need another alternative, and we're kind of pushing towards alternatives, which is actually a good thing. But yeah, there's going to be a flood of stuff on the market. I really feel bad. Honestly, I feel really bad for people who got into ETH ASICs recently. There's a lot of new ones out on the market. And of course, you can do ETH Classic with it. But as more people switch their ASICs over to ETH Classic, that's going to raise the hash rate drastically, as if it hasn't already gone up quite a bit. And the price isn't going up. We need the price to go up, but people still need to point their machines somewhere. So they're going to point them probably to ETH Classic, since that's the only option they have other than this other POW ETH. We'll see. It's really going to be an interesting question to see. I'm actually looking forward to it quite a bit, because from the standpoint of a miner, anything you can mine cheaply is good for a miner. Even though it doesn't sound that good, it actually is that good.
Xander, go ahead. It looks like you had something. You're a miner.
Yeah, I'm a miner, but for this merge, I'm definitely doing a degen play by trying to do this POW, the ETH see how that goes. So it's unconventional of me to go for something like that, but I was like, you know what, let's see what happens.
All the best, man. All the best. Let us know what the update is, man. Once if things work out, definitely come back. If it doesn't work out, come back. I want to know what's going on with that. Right? I'm sure we're going to talk about it. If it's a thing, if it's very newsworthy, obviously it's going to be in our foresights, and we'll talk about that as well. So the SEC chair Gary Gensler obviously does have a lot to talk about in regards to crypto, and I'm really curious of what you guys think. It hasn't been discussed yet, but I'm sure that it's going to be an issue once proof of stake comes into play with Ethereum. Will Gary Gensler, the chair of the Securities and Exchange Commission, publicly state that Ethereum is now considered a security? That's where we're at, okay? And the reason is because we're moving away from proof of stake and proof of work, and moving over to proof of stake. Now feedback. Come on, Alyssa, go ahead.
So I honestly don't think that he's ever going to publicly come out and say that they are a security, although he may dance around it just to scare everybody and talk in circles like he does. But I honestly don't think that they're ever going to say that crypto, like ETH specifically, is going to be a security. I think they're all just going to be commodities. I've done lots of research on it. I've listened to Wendio talk about it. So honestly, I can see him talking about other cryptos being a security, which he's done before. But I don't think ETH specifically, because in the long term he can just get paid off like everybody else. But that's just my opinion.
All right, so let me search this real quick. So what is a security? The term security refers to a fungible, negotiable financial instrument that holds some type of monetary value. A security can represent ownership in a corporation in the form of stocks, a creditor relationship with a governmental body or corporation represented by owning that entity's bond or right to ownership as represented by an option. Now, you guys remember my story I told you guys at the beginning of how I got into Ethereum. Remember that in order to get Ethereum, you had to participate in the ICO. So you had to make that investment, and then you're rewarded with Ethereum. Is that not a security? Am I completely wrong? Please, somebody correct me on that. It bogs my mind that literally the birth of Ethereum and everything that defines what a security is what Ethereum did on the Genesis block, day one.
Well, yes, it is a security, but Terra is also the same thing. Like a lot of these cryptos that were ICO'd are securities. Now, will the government come in and call them securities? Maybe, maybe not. They have publicly come out and stated that some are securities, like AMP. AMP was completely taken off of Binance because they said that it was a security. But until the government figures out whether what side they want to be on is like it's free range essentially until the government decides what side they're going to be on, and that's my opinion. And why am I always the only female in this space?
You got to bring them along. I sent invites out, but nobody else wants to join. So, well, thanks for being here. I appreciate that. You got to keep it interesting. Uh, so, I lost my train of thought. I think Gary Gensler is going for he wants all crypto to be security. That's my point of view. I've read a lot about him. He's always trying to make every crypto that's a security. I mean, he's even try to challenge CFTC, try to switch things over from a commodity over to a security, right? And I think that this might be far stretching, but I like I mentioned before, Ethereum is the tokens itself. Once these coins are dumped onto the market, it's only going to be a select few holding these tokens. The majority of them, right? It's going to be its foundation and whales. At that point, instead of having all these coins distributed all around the world, it's now owned by a few. These few now, the Gary Gensler can definitely attack. Like, boom, you top 5 people. This is all security. You guys are now my puppies, right? I think that's what's going to happen. V, I see V. We got V on the table. The table is yours. We're talking about Ethereum merge, proof of work, proof of stake. If you want to start off, we did start off the conversation of how you got into Ethereum, if you don't mind. And this is your first time here, so I want to hear you. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for inviting me to talk. Um, I jumped in on the Ethereum as a security question, and I was trying to quickly find the link because I've had this discussion in previous rooms, and without having it handy, there's a association. I believe it is Crypto Briefing or Coin Briefing or Coin Bureau, some non-for-profit that sort of is a liaison with the SEC for the crypto community to get some clarity around regulations. And on their website, they had posted a letter where I believe it was Gensler who signed the letter stating, and I really wish I had the link because I've read this out loud in previous Twitter spaces, but he said that the definition of a security is not static, that it changes. And in many cases, and he said Ethereum specifically, at the time they did the ICO, if they would have looked at it, yes, it would have been a security. But since Ethereum has changed since that time, it has evolved into something that no longer fits the criteria of a security. And he says it's not a security. He says Bitcoin's not a security, Ethereum is not a security. The DAO would have been a security, but it imploded, so there's nothing to govern over. So essentially, that's how they said they're moving forward with these cryptocurrencies. And it comes down to, I think, the idea of, like, again, I don't have it memorized, but there's 4 key points of the Howey test to determine whether something's a security or not. And one of them is like expectation of profit from third parties. And I believe the SEC is looking at that and saying, okay, is this a permissionless blockchain where anyone can join and validate and mine or not? In many cases, they're closed systems. Like XRP is closed, Binance is closed. Um, you have to get approved to become a validator in a lot of these Ethereum competitors. And I believe those would make them fail as a security. And the fact that Ethereum has decentralized itself, the SEC no longer considers it a security. There's official links and letters from the SEC to state this. I just don't have those handy in front of me.
Okay, the please, I would really appreciate if you follow us over in Discord. It is in the C3 Media description. We do have CoinTree there. Join our Discord. I would like you to find that, please, and just post it there in our general chat. I want to read that. That to me means a lot. Lissa, go ahead.
Also, another interesting point is the SEC and the federal government as a whole define cryptos as a commodity. So, do you know who is technically over the commodities? Is the agricultural division of the government. So, how does that even make sense at all? It doesn't.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Doesn't make sense. Clothing, go ahead. Uh oh. Uh oh. Clothing.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I got a phone call there. So I got cut off the space. Um, I think that it really begs the question, and I'm not for regulation. For anybody who's really ever extensively chatted with me, I'm not for regulation. I'm not for government control, really, of really a whole lot of anything. So I don't love the agreement, or I shouldn't even the argument that something should be regulated as a security, but I do not believe it to be fair for other things to be considered securities to be under, I mean, litigation, all sorts of, I mean, including especially XRP.
I was about
Um,
to XRP. Yep.
yeah, especially XRP. I mean, it, you know, I don't see how you can justify something that you receive a return on investment that is a vehicle, like it is a monetary vehicle. You like we may not love that and love the truth, but it's a monetary vehicle, and that can be fine in and of itself, but when it offers a return, that is a security. And in my opinion, like that should be like registered, because I've had to register for every other fucking thing that I've had to invest in, as an investor, as somebody who does invest in equities and securities. I don't find that really a problem. Like if we want to do a security token, that's perfectly fine, but let's fucking make it fair. Because if I was to launch a security token, raise some crowdfunding, and even if it was a kick-ass company, I'm still going to go to fucking prison if I don't register that shit. So I don't know. I don't think it's equal treatment, and I think it's because people in power have some sort of financial obligation or
In bed with
financial
Russians, man. In
benefit.
bed with the Russians. Foxy, this is your first time here. I appreciate you being here. I see you're a speaker. Once again, everybody had a chance to cycle through and pretty much start off their discussion or their experience of how they got into Ethereum. So I'd appreciate you taking a moment and just letting me know, how did you get into Ethereum? What was your first experience there, and why did you get into Ethereum, and where you're at now?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Well, I'm a dev. I come at it more from like a dev side. Um, I interacted with a few smart contracts. Originally got into like Bitcoin. But my question is like, what do you guys feel about like the merge and the whole like tornado cash and like the censorship that seems to be being built in to the new proof of stake model that seems to be going forward? Thanks.
Yeah, no problem, man. We just had an hour conversation about that, or like an hour and a half in. But yeah, we even had tornado cash discussion. I think what was it last week. So I don't really want to repeat the stuff. We do have a YouTube channel. If you would want to, you can definitely check out our YouTube channel and see the discussion that we just had. But yeah, what's your experience? How did you? So you only became a dev, and that's all you're doing, or did you start off as a miner? Did you buy the token? Did you just tinker with it a little bit before you started doing dev stuff on the back end, or were you just hired on as a dev to work on Ethereum?
No, I became a dev and from like the web developer background, and then I became a dev, and then I bought tokens in order to run applications on the blockchain.
Are you into NFTs?
Well, yeah, obviously.
Okay, okay. What do you hold? Are you an ape guy? Looks like
Oh,
you got.
now this was my first one, and it was actually a rug pull, but
Oh no! See, that's the thing. How did you get rug pulled, man? Because we have also had this discussion as well about smart contracts and people getting rug pulled off of that, and why Ravencoin uh, being able to create NFTs on the layer one blockchain where you basically are guaranteed not to get rug pulled because it's not a smart contract. It's literally imprinted into the blockchain. But go ahead.
well, I think it's just like the community that you pick, you know. I mean, if it's just like a random smart contract and people just like want to interact with smart contracts in order to kind of get their feet wet, and if there isn't a whole lot of information on them, then it can lead to like a rug pull.
I'm chuckling here because you said you're a dev. I'm assuming you took the time to look at the code, right?
No, I transferred it into a separate wallet, the amount required, and then I just did it because I wanted a Foxy. So
Foxy. So I got to make some Foxy NFTs out here pretty soon. All right. I'll just put some Fox ears on, take pictures of myself. Right. You can buy my you can buy my NFT.
probably won't be any worse than the rug pull, man.
No, I promise you, I will not rug pull you. It just cost you 100 ETH.
Oh, only 100. That's not that bad, man.
All right. Let's see. I'm ready to wrap it up. Jake, what about you? You still got something? Anyone else got something?
I think we hit all the bases, honestly.
Yeah.
Normally
What?
there's only 3 bases, but we hit like 6, so 2 home runs.
Yeah. Closing. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say nothing that I've said should be in any way interpreted as like any kind of advice. Like I'm not a securities expert. I'm not somebody uh who's really somebody to judge in any kind of way. I just think it's important to give my input, and I think everyone else should give theirs.
Perfect. All right. So this wraps up the Ethereum merge part of this. I'm going to continue on here for another few minutes because I know some of you guys have amazing projects out there, and I want you guys to plug in your project while you guys are here. So, Jake, do you have a project?
I have a project, but it's not really customer facing. So it's not something that, I mean, I can talk about it because it's actually getting traction finally, but it's still not something that people can really directly buy into at the moment. I do want to make mention of it because it's something I think everybody would find of interest, particularly possibly even Foxy and V, or anyone who hasn't spoken. But I've been trying to move away from the cost of, or not the cost, sorry, the price of whatever crypto we're dealing with, particularly proof of work. But if the project takes off the way I really hope it takes off, as it seems to be going that direction already, it will enable, it will bring back, it'll bring back proof of work Ethereum. No, the end goal is that it will bring back the importance of proof of work and the value of proof of work, in that it will make the power cost requirement of proof of work of less effect. So I want to keep it kind of vague. I know I've talked about it before. Those people who have listened into these sessions in the past and or on our podcast, the C3 Media podcast. But it's the thing is to try to get as much power on the grid as possible. I want hundreds of gigawatts, not 50 or 60 gigawatts. I want thousands of gigawatt hours on the grid. I want so much freaking power on the grid, we don't know what to do with it. Oh, but we do know what to do with it. Crypto. That's what we know what to do with it. So that's my project in very vague terms.
All right. Thanks. All right, Alyssa, you are everywhere. You're doing just about every project out there. Just tell us a handful of what you're doing. Go ahead and plug in what you got.
So I actually do a handful of stuff. I am the chief marketing officer for Just NFTs. We are an NFT platform, NFT resource provider. I have also just spoke at an NFT conference on a women's panel. I really help educate women coming into the Web3 space, and I also do YouTube AM Daily Crypto. And I used to be with C3 Media, but yeah, I got too much going on right now. But I would like to do part time with you guys if you're interested. So maybe we can talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. No problem. Thank you once again, Alyssa, for being here with us. Definitely bring in more women. We need a balance here, all right? We need a balance, okay? Can't just be all just proof of stake men. We need some balance. Clothing, what do you got?
Well, I hope that Cryptolissa said hi to Crypto Wendy for me. Um, Outside of that, uh, shout out Ravencoin. Um, we're gonna keep pushing. I think there's a lot going on in the space, and if you're not following, you really should, because it's taking off in a very, like, I've made a few posts about it recently. I track like the analytics for Google, like Google searches, and the Google trends for Ravencoin are literally like blasting through the roof right now, like globally, which is really cool. And comparing that with hash rate migration and everything else, I think there's a lot of interest, and I think all of proof of work alternatives to Ethereum are at least worth looking at, and in particular Flux, because you can run a node for Ravencoin on Flux. Um, Outside of that, if I'm gonna show an Ethereum project, I just bought a Alien Friend, one of their AFEs, which I think is pretty cool. But outside of that, yeah, I hope everyone keeps rocking. And if you want to set up a node for Ravencoin, let me know.
Awesome, Clothing. Always appreciate you being here, and I hope you join us next week as well. All right, Xander. Xander's on the table. What's up, man? You got some stuff going on too, man. What's up?
Yeah, I'm this chief technical officer at Renewblocks. We're going to be doing renewable energy mining, Bitcoin mining. We're working on a project in Costa Rica. There's gonna be a mining farm down there, so I'm pretty busy with that. And then here, spec mining here at home. Like I was saying earlier, ETH Neoxa, and I'm actually mining another coin called Meow Coin. Yes, that is the coin. It's called Meow Coin, which hit. I think it was close to 4 cents
and it just started about a week ago. So that's pretty impressive to go that high in price for
Meow.
being a. Yep, that's right. Meow. It's got a nice little cat on there too, pixelated cat. But anyways, yeah, just spec mining right now, waiting for the merge to pass. I still solo mine Raven coin on my QT wallet. Still doing that. Um, have my own node, and looking at other projects right now like Flux for the staking and stuff like that for making the nodes. And what Quoting was saying is pretty interesting too. How you can run a node on Flux, a Ravencoin node. That's actually pretty cool.
All right, Xander, thank you. Thank you. Once again, I hope to see you next week here as well. We're going to continue talking. Obviously, it's going to be post Ethereum merge, and we're going to see how things go thereafter. Foxy,
Oh,
uh, Foxy, you're one of our newest listeners out here. I appreciate you being here. So it's always good to see new people here. It's always a good experience, man. I'm always curious. What do you got going on? If you have anything, you're a developer, so I'm sure you got something, right?
Yeah, but I think I'm going to be moving away from Ethereum and more towards things like Polkadot and stuff like that, in regards to building going forward. But you think like if you could you DM me like a Raven how to set up a Raven coin node if that'd be cool with you, man?
Yeah, absolutely, my dude. I got you.
Sure, thanks. And
Foxy,
thanks.
Stop,
Go ahead.
Foxy, thank you for being with us, man. I appreciate you. It sounded like you said you were going to start developing for Raven Coin. Intent. Wink, wink.
Maybe because I'm a fan of proof of work. So, but yeah, we'll see how
Yeah,
the merge goes, right?
Foxy should talk to Mike Newton, or the third part of our team here for C3 Media, because Mike's a Raven Coin developer as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is he linked in your guys' like
Yeah, just
follow?
message us, message C3 Media, and I'll get you guys connected. He would be here with us, but he's on a flight right now, so he couldn't join us right now.
Cool. And thanks for letting me talk. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm always I like people. This is what it's about, man. It's when we have our Twitter Spaces, it's open to the community, man. I want to know what's going on out there. We gotta we, the, without a community, what are we, right? Right. I think who was it? I think it was Doug from Mango Farms actually pushed out this tweet, and it was kind of disappointing, saying that it almost sounded like it's not about the community, it's just about war, trying to mine coins and be the best. Who cares about the community? But in reality, it truly is about the community, man. Yeah, you got to really appreciate the community from working together, from promoting stuff, especially when there is a project out there that doesn't have a promotional campaign or a marketing budget. It all relies on the community out there to really push out a project. So, yeah, I appreciate you, Foxy, and Clothing. Brave. Was it Brian? How do you say his name, man? Come on. Bravey? Yeah, appreciate you for being here. Even though you're listening, I would appreciate it. I would like to hear you, man. Next time, hopefully, I get to hear you. So once again, we're going to wrap this up. If you guys want to check us out, we do have a Twitch that I am live streaming on right now. You guys can just, if you guys want to talk, you guys can watch us on Twitch. You can see what I'm streaming, what I'm showing on the screen here. This will also be uploaded to YouTube and exported over to Odyssey, which is a Web3 version of YouTube. Just in case we get banned from the centralized YouTube, we will always have our videos up on Odyssey. Also, we do have a podcast, C3 Media, Cryptocurrency Chat. We do have that every Sunday and Wednesday, so that will be posted also on the YouTube, and it is all in the coin tree below in the description. With that said, let's go ahead and wrap this up. An hour and 34 minutes. I'm going to remind you guys to stack sats and hodl. Adios.